The Su-34, a Russian twin-seat, twin-engine fighter bomber, has been central to Russia's air campaign in Ukraine but is showing increasingly clear signs of vulnerability and strategic fatigue by mid-2025. Initially introduced as a replacement for the older Su-24 with advanced avionics, long-range strike capacity, and some limited air-to-air capability, the Su-34 has become the backbone of Russia's tactical bombing force. However, it is operating in an environment where Ukrainian air defenses, supported by Western technology, have dramatically evolved, and this has severely degraded the Su-34's ability to operate freely or effectively. By 2025, over 30 Su-34s have been confirmed destroyed in Ukraine, with additional aircraft reportedly damaged or out of service due to maintenance issues or spare parts shortages. The exact number of operational Su-34s fluctuates because of attrition, but estimates suggest Russia started the war with over 120 Su-34s, and is now losing them faster than it can replace them. Russia can only produce between 6 to 10 new Su-34s annually, which is insufficient to keep up with both combat and non-combat losses. This production rate has been hampered by Western sanctions that have cut off key components such as semiconductors, avionics chips, and high-performance alloys used in engine and airframe maintenance. The most recent incidents include a forced emergency landing at Lipetsk Air Base in March 2025, where a Su-34 suffered landing gear failure and was significantly damaged in a belly landing. Though both pilots survived, the aircraft was likely taken out of service or sent for long-term repair. In June 2024, a Su-34 crashed during a routine training flight in North Ossetia, killing both crew members. This crash was attributed not to pilot error, but likely to systemic technical degradation. These are only the most publicized accidents. Many smaller incidents are suspected to be underreported or intentionally obscured by Russian authorities. In Ukraine, Su-34s are increasingly forced to operate at low altitudes to avoid Western-supplied long-range surface-to-air missiles like the Patriot system. This low-altitude approach, while helping avoid detection from long-range radars, makes the aircraft vulnerable to shorter-range threats, such as manpads and shoulder-fired missiles. The aircraft's lack of stealth design and its smoky Al-31 engines make it particularly easy to visually and thermally track. Multiple Su-34s have been visually confirmed shot down by Ukrainian forces, including one in October 2024, reportedly destroyed by a Ukrainian pilot flying a Western-supplied F-16. The Su-34's survivability is further complicated by Russia's reliance on glide bombs and legacy cruise missiles that require close-range launches to hit mobile or well-defended targets. As a result, Su-34s must fly within contested airspace more often than Western bombers like the B-52 or B-2, which are used primarily in standoff roles. This creates a persistent risk not only to aircraft but to highly trained aircrew, whose loss is difficult to replace quickly. Reports indicate that average pilot training hours for Russian fast jet pilots have declined to less than 120 hours annually, significantly lower than NATO standards, and are affecting mission success rates and survivability in complex, contested environments. Propaganda surrounding the Su-34 continues despite these limitations. Russian state media presents it as a super platform capable of everything from hypersonic missile launches to precision strikes deep behind Ukrainian lines. There have been repeated claims that the Su-34 has been used to launch Kinjal missiles, a hypersonic weapon Russia typically deploys from MiG-31K aircraft, but no visual or forensic evidence supports this. Aviation analysts almost unanimously agree the Su-34 lacks the physical integration, data link, and power systems to employ the Kinjal. Instead, it is mostly outfitted for conventional and semi-guided munitions like the Kh-29, Kh-59, Fab 500 glide bombs, and sometimes the older Kh-25. Drone strikes and sabotage actions have pushed Russian command to disperse Su-34 deployments. Previously concentrated at high-use airfields like Morozovsk or Chelyabinsk, Su-34 squadrons have been moved deeper into Russian territory to avoid being destroyed on the ground. Ukrainian drone attacks in late 2024 and early 2025 have struck or damaged Su-34s, parked at air bases. One such strike occurred at Morozovsk, where several Su-34s were reportedly hit while refueling. As a result, Russia has increasingly relied on dispersal tactics, burying aircraft in hardened shelters or relocating them frequently, which itself consumes time and resources. In addition to drones, sabotage inside Russia has also become a growing threat. Reports emerged of attempted arson at Su-34 airfields, likely carried out by Russian partisans or Ukrainian-aligned operatives. Russian military sources downplay these actions, instead blaming mechanical failures or accidents. The most notorious incident involved the Su-34 that crashed into a civilian apartment block in Yeysk in October 2022, killing 15 people. Official explanations blamed a bird strike, but leaked audio and later independent investigations suggested the engine caught fire due to internal failure linked to maintenance shortfalls. The wear and tear from continuous operations, in combination with sanctions and battlefield risks, have made it clear that the Su-34 fleet is operating under severe pressure. Flight hours are increasingly restricted to conserve airframes, and combat missions are more selectively assigned. While newer variants like the Su-34M have been introduced, the number delivered remains low and insufficient to significantly change the overall capability of the fleet. These updated variants have improved radar, electronic warfare suites, and potentially data links to integrate better with other systems like drones or ground stations, but their real-world combat performance is not yet well documented. As of mid-2025, Russia is shifting its strategy in part to mitigate Su-34 losses by relying more on drone swarms, Shahed-type kamikaze UAVs, and long-range missile strikes launched from fixed positions. The use of the Su-34 for high-risk missions is decreasing, as losses and public scrutiny mount. Even pro-Russian Telegram channels and military bloggers, once highly supportive of the Su-34, have begun quietly criticizing its continued use in high-threat zones, especially when aircraft are lost without achieving significant battlefield gains. The Su-34 remains an active part of the Russian Air Force, but it is increasingly constrained by attrition, technical decay, production bottlenecks, and battlefield limitations. The aircraft was designed to be a survivable, multi-role platform in a 1990s context, but in 2025's high-tech battlefield, where drones, Western SAMs, and real-time targeting dominate, it is proving outdated and increasingly unsustainable. Unless Russia radically retools its airpower doctrine or significantly modernizes the platform, which is unlikely under current sanctions and production limitations, the Su-34 may continue to fly, but with a diminishing role and growing risk.